Welcome to the Genius Way Show with your host, Ben Hummell. The aim of this show is to provide education, encouragement, and insights for people who are on their own personal development journeys. As a psychotherapist, teacher, author, and creator of the Genius Way process, Ben will focus on identifying common challenges to living a purposeful life, and will share valuable psychological and spiritual tools to help you make healthy and empowering life changes. We hope you enjoy the show.
Hey friends, welcome to the Genius Way Show. I'm your host, Ben Hummell. It's great to be here with you again this week as we're going to talk about the development in the idea of the concept and the meaning of the word genius. Okay, so one thing we should start out with is that, I'm imagining that when you guys hear the word genius, you're thinking about a contemporary idea of genius, which has to do with IQ and measuring IQ and, genius being kind of like really, really special people. That's not always been the case. So, the word genius itself comes from a Latin word, which kind of obviously will go back to a Roman concept. The Latin word is geniere, which means to beget or to kind of create, and genie, which means basically the fundamental nature of everything. Okay, so from there, that word genius sort of evolved. That evolved into genius, and basically the way that the Greeks and the Romans and many, many, many other cultures around the world used to see not only the word genius, but the idea of genius is as a spirit. So the idea that each person was born with this kind of guardian spirit, and the guardian spirit brought with it all the qualities, the special qualities that each person has to express in their lifetime, their gifts, their calling, their, the thing that makes them different and unique, and their particular contribution to the life that they've been born into. Okay, that's really important there. That idea that everybody brings something with them, in terms of this kind of guardian spirit, has these qualities that they're keeping for this individual so that they can contribute that to their life. So the idea of genius, like a few thousand years ago, it was just like, yeah, everybody has a genius, and it's a spirit that gets born with them. That's kind of what we knew then. That's what the idea was, right? And so this idea of genius, or this spirit, this guardian spirit, it's not so much for protection of your body. It's not really like a guardian angel that's standing there with a sword warding off evil. It's more like it's guarding your qualities, like keeping your qualities of individual expression safe, and not only keeping them safe, but serving to remind us, if we ever forget, that we have a genius and that we are here to express something in particular as an individual, right? So this genius sometimes was seen, this genius spirit was sometimes seen as mischievous. It would if we forget about it, it would kind of cause some disturbance in our life to get us to kind of remember, hey, wait a minute, I'm still here. Your spirit of genius is here, and you have something to say. You have something in particular to say, and you're not going to rest until you actually get to that thing and start saying it, start doing it, start expressing it, whatever it is, right? So again, at that point, this was seen as a spirit. There's even an idea of genius loci, which is the spirit and the genius of the area or the place or the building. Everything was kind of imbued with spirits at that point. And since then, we've kind of gotten away from that, that landscape of seeing the world in that way, as in being inhabited by different spirits. neither good, bad, or indifferent. As a society, as a world, lots of us moved away from that idea. And then, what happened recently, just the last 100 years or so, we, in the West especially, started to see genius. We kind of lost the whole spirit thing. And we started to see genius as some kind of intellectual brainiac kind of idea where somebody who is a genius scores really high on the IQ test. And, I think this is Alfred Binet came up with this. And if your IQ is very high, you're considered a genius. And so when I'm talking about genius here, I'm aware that I'm having to wade through whatever you've kind of picked up as your idea of what genius actually means. And so that's why I'm going through it here to get to what I'm talking about as genius, which is a third thing besides the spirit idea and the intellectual quotient, the IQ idea of it. Okay. And we're going to get into that a little bit later in the show. So, when I'm speaking about genius, I'm kind of asking you to do a kind of a big thing, and that is to bypass those first two ideas of genius and to see genius in a different way. That the phenomenon of genius in a whole different way. Okay, but besides all this, the point of genius, the point of this is that it is about an individual expression. It is about being more of who you actually are and to be able to express that in the life that you find yourself in. Okay? Because there's something about expressing your genius that is very, very, very important in terms of life fulfillment. They go hand in hand. Okay? And we imagine that there are a lot of different things that would make us feel fulfilled in our lives. If I had enough money, if I had the right partner, if I had the right circumstances, if I was 20 pounds lighter, if I was younger or older, there's a lot of things that we would imagine could get us to that point where I feel better about myself and my life feels fulfilled. If I could actually live in this one place or whatever. But all of those things are just kind of symbols of actually being deeply ourselves. And what I mean by that is, who are we as individuals kind of destined to be from what we've been born with? In other words, are we expressing the gifts that we've been born with? Do we have a sufficient way to express the qualities that we have at our core? Okay, because that's the journey of every human being. Getting to those qualities that we were born with that are natural for us as individuals and how somehow, miraculously, are necessary for the world that we find ourselves in, that are contributions and somehow make the world better in our little corner of the world by us being more of what we actually are. So how can you be more of what you are? Well, what that means is that in order to be more of what we are, like by embracing our genius qualities, that presupposes that we're not quite there yet, that we're actually not expressing truly who we are for one reason or another. So can you imagine why that might be? So one way that we don't express who we are is if we're so busy healing the wounds of our childhoods. And that's one of the main distractions from expressing genius. And that's why in my book, The Genius Way, Expressing Your Unique Gifts, I go over this over and over and over again on why our genius seems to be so hard to get to, and the difference between healing our old wounds and expressing our genius. It's a very big difference, and there'll be another show on that later. But the point is here, to get away from only trying to heal wounds, we have to have a certain level of wakefulness that we develop through practicing certain life skills. It's all about practicing, finding out what they are and practicing them. Okay. And when we can practice being aware of our genius, that we have a genius, what we have in our genius, what are the things that when we express them, we feel better about ourselves, we feel more happy and fulfilled, the more we're going to be able to do that and live as that fulfilled person. We're going to be able to have life purpose and fulfillment, not because it's on a mountaintop somewhere, but it's deep within us, there ready for us to find. And so when we're less preoccupied with healing wounds from the past, and again, healing wounds is important. No doubt about it. It is important. But that's not the only work to do for life fulfillment, is healing wounds. Healing wounds, just to get them out of the way so that we can find our genius, find our purpose, and to be able to express our purpose and share our genius with others. That's what leads to life fulfillment. Okay? That's what leads to having a really, really beautiful, meaningful life, because all you're doing is expressing what you uniquely have within you, that you're not making up, that you're not trying to heal from something. You're just expressing what you have and what you are innately great at expressing. Okay, so take a look at this little video that'll explain this a little bit further. And on the other side of that video, we're going to dig into this a little more and clarify what genius actually is and how it will make sense for your life.
Every single one of us has a unique genius. And no, it's not about having the highest IQ or being a prodigy. Your genius is your personal fingerprint on creativity. Maybe you craft stories that captivate hearts, or you solve problems with out-of-the-box thinking. Perhaps your art speaks louder than words. This, my friend, is your genius. Imagine if everyone embraced their unique talents, the world would be a canvas of endless possibilities. So what's holding you back? Self-doubt, comparisons? Forget those. Recognize your worth, embrace your quirks, share your brilliance, because the world needs what only you can offer. Remember, your genius isn't about perfection. It's about passion, creativity, and authenticity. So go ahead, unleash your unique genius. You're not just another face in the crowd. You are extraordinary. Keep creating, keep shining. The world is waiting for your magic.
So to elaborate on that last segment, and to take you out of the two models of genius is a spirit that you were born with that kind of helps you to do these different things and holds your beautiful creative qualities. It's beautiful, but that's not really how we see things these days. And also to take it out of that really kind of, boring, unimaginative idea of genius as the intelligence quotient of a person, where if you're over 140, you're in the genius category of intelligence. That's kind of dry and, not that interesting. So the third way to see it is that, and this is what the genius way is about. This is my path here that I've created to help others and teach others about genius, is that genius is more like an existential DNA. So think about that for a second. When, you look at my body here, I've got, at this point, my hair is pretty white, got kind of like a block, kind of square face, blue eyes, so forth. That's in my physical and biological DNA, right? That's kind of like, I don't have to work at that. It's just kind of there. And I don't need to work to bring that out. It's already expressing itself, okay? And one thing is not any better than any other DNA, right? So when you think about an existential DNA, you're going past biology, and you're going past the body into your kind of deeper identity, which is, on a level of here, look, here, my body got expressed. You can say this is from my parents, but existence has a lot to do with this, the bodily expressions that we have. And so if you go deeper into existence, there's more than just the body that gets expressed. You can say it's a soul that gets expressed or a being that gets expressed, something. Okay. Whatever. I'm not trying to lead anybody down any kind of religious path or anything. Just whatever works for you in terms of conceiving what's animating this body. Okay. Let's just leave it at that. Okay. And so something here is here talking, speaking, and that thing itself has a DNA or an imprint that's left by the thing that engendered it to be here, expressed it to be here. Okay. And so that expressive quality that expressed me, expressed you onto this earth at this time, that expressive quality left kind of a blueprint within us to show up as, express, create a certain thing. Just like I have this hair, you have your hair, or lack of hair, or whatever happened to what's happening on your head. Okay. Just like you have that, you also have an imprint of how to show up in the world. Okay. That imprint is deeper than the things that have happened to you in your life. Okay. So we got this physical expression. We have our psychology, which is largely a reaction, hopefully a response, but mostly a reaction to the things that have happened to us. Okay. Whatever traumas or non-traumas, the love or not love that we got, we kind of create this thing that is a response to all of those experiences. Okay. And you either work on that or you don't, doesn't matter. But beneath that, before our psychology, before the things that have happened to us, there was an imprint from existence as to this person is their genius, their qualities, their creative disposition, their expressive disposition has these certain qualities to it, and you don't really know what they are until they magically show up one day. Like, let's say, you're a kid and, nobody in your family was musical, let's say, and you pick up a guitar and you start singing. Everybody's like, oh my God, you got an amazing voice. What happened? Where did that come from? And you find you're singing and you get this so much joy out of singing, and you find it kind of by accident. And if you don't, kind of really, really dig into that quality, you're going to miss a certain genius trait that you were meant to express in this life, right? And so when you see something like that, whether it's singing or gardening or making spreadsheets or whatever the heck it is, it doesn't matter what it is. The fact is that you have something and it needs to be expressed in order to feel a sense of life fulfillment. So this expression comes from the imprint that was made existentially into this lifetime for you. Okay. So instead of seeing genius as a guardian angel or some kind of spirit, one way to look at it contemporarily is like, what imprint has existence left on me? What do I already have that I'm not expressing, but that feels really good when I do, and it feels really important and fulfilling when I start to express it? Okay. So this book, The Genius Way, Expressing Your Unique Gifts, this is what this whole thing is about, is to find those things, because everyone has them. They're different in everyone, but the way to get to them is the same. Okay. The path or the way to get to those genius qualities is the same. And so if we practice these certain types of life skills and use a little bit of, the proper way to mine this experience or mine these qualities from us, we can find them. And when we do, we will know how to express what we have within us in terms of genius, in terms of that existential imprint, like the existential DNA that we all are born with, but is unique to every individual. So I hope this is making sense. Okay, so the contemporary way to think about genius is that we have something within us that we didn't create, that's already there for us to express. It's already laid out for us to express. And it's always somehow it's a creative expression. Again, I don't mean the arts necessarily, but it's something that comes out of us. It's an expression, right? And so why do you think that is? Why do you think that genius is an expression and not just something that you just kind of shut your mouth and just sit there and be your genius? Well, if you look around you, there is apparently an incessant quality of existence to be expressing itself as many, 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 many things. Okay? Look into the ocean, look out into space, look in your garden. There are layers and layers and layers and layers of creatures and expressions and things that are kind of coming out of nowhere and expressing themselves. It seems it's like endless. It's like an infinite thing. Okay? So this quality of expression that the universe has, that existence has, is passed on to us too. We are here to express something as this unique individual, not as like, oh, you can if you want to, but as like a mandate. You're here to express something important, and it only has to be important to you, because if it's important to you, it will be important to the world around you somehow. This is not a mistake or an accident. Part of the existential DNA is to express. So, if you look at this world as like that quote in the beginning of my book, it says, who is it? Think of the fierce energy concentrated in an acorn. You buried it into the ground and it explodes into an oak. And that's George Bernard Shaw. It explodes into an oak. Look around you. Look at what has exploded into existence here. Flowers, trees, animals, reptiles. Everything has kind of exploded into existence, right? Because there's this boundless creative energy. We have inherited that in our DNA, not just our biological DNA, in our existential DNA. We have inherited that quality of explosive creation, of bursting into creation. Okay? So the same exact impulse to create that exists in existence is in us, right? It's right there. And, that's what I teach, is how to get in touch with that creative expression quality that we are born with. So why doesn't everybody have that? Why doesn't everybody understand that? In short, is because we don't know to look for it. We don't know where to look for the thing that's going to fulfill us. Number one. Number two is that, for the most part, most of us are preoccupied with healing our wounds from our, the previous part of our lives, than to look for something that is existentially expressive, And so, again, healing wounds is fine, but it's not the goal of life. The goal of life, and this is what a lot of, personal journey people do. They might think that the goal of their life is to heal all their wounds. And I hate to tell you, but it's not. You can be fulfilled even if all your wounds aren't healed. You heal the wounds, the ones that get in your way, right? That's when it's time to do some healing, right? But besides all that, and independent of healing wounds, is getting to your genius, knowing what it is, and giving yourself a way to express it. That in and of itself brings life fulfillment. So, okay, we're going to take a short commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to share with you a guided visualization to help you kind of get this idea of existential DNA a little bit deeper in your awareness, so you can start recognizing some of your genius qualities and that kind of expressive identity for yourself. I'll see you on the other side.
Ben Hummell's writing comes from a deep well of experience, practice, and wisdom. The Genius Way teaches you the life skills you need to find your own unique genius. Summoning Genius helps readers to turn a midlife crisis into an opportunity for personal growth. You can find Ben's books on thegeniusway.com, Amazon, and most online booksellers.
Close your eyes and take a deep breath in, and then deeply exhale. Imagine that you're visiting an ancient pyramid. Your guide knows the way to a secret passage that takes you into the deepest part of the interior of the pyramid. And as you are making your way deeper and deeper into the core of the structure, you pass something that catches your eye. You take a step back to see yourself standing in front of an ancient mirror. Instead of reflecting back your image, though, this special mirror has the power to reflect an image of your genius DNA back to you. You look deeply into this special mirror for an image of what your genius wants to express with your life. What do you see? Take a moment to notice any details and aspects of this quality of your genius. Notice if you have ever seen this aspect of yourself before in your life. Now, see a circumstance where you can express this aspect of your genius in your present life. What, if anything, will you need to change about your life to express your genius in this way? Now you and your guide are making your way back to the entrance of the pyramid and eventually back out into the daylight. What are you taking with you from this experience of the genius mirror. And now, with this experience fully intact in your awareness, and when you're ready, open your eyes and come back into this room. And we're back. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity right now to go over the 3 basic fundamental ideas of the Genius Way philosophy that goes right in line with what we've been talking about in this show. And so, well, the first quality of the philosophy is this: each one of us is born with a set of qualities, skills, and talents that we are meant to spend our lives uncovering and expressing. Okay, so that's the bottom line here. Each one of us has something that is one of the meanings that we give our lives to find what we have as individuals, spend our life finding it and then creating a way to express that for ourselves. Just like, again, this TV show right here is a way for me to express my genius. The part of me that is really good and gets a great deal of meaning out of sharing ideas with others that make their lives a little bit better and more awakened, and basically teaching people to fish, teaching people to use their own inner qualities. And that's just, for me, that's the best thing, hands down. So each one of us is born with a set of qualities, skills, and talents that we're meant to spend our lives uncovering and expressing. That's number 1. Number 2, there is an actual part of us that is a repository of our genius qualities, which is our prima conscious. And we can find this part, open it up, and express it as a foundational aspect of ourselves. Okay? So our prima conscious, you don't look for this anywhere else because I made that word up. Okay? I needed a word as I was writing this and getting this, this kind of idea out for the Genius Way. I needed a word that could describe an area of our consciousness that is only there to hold our genius qualities. Like the idea of the spirit of genius, that spirit that the Romans and the Greeks were born with, that holds all your qualities. This is a different thing. This is a part of your awareness, part of your consciousness, that its only function is to hold those qualities and those latent skills and callings and leanings throughout the entire life, so that we don't lose them. It's part of our own awareness that we need to learn to tap into in order to get to it, learn what's in there, and have access to it so that we can express our genius as we're going through our life. Okay, so again, there's an actual part of us that is a repository of our genius qualities, which is our prima conscious, and we can find this part, open it up, and express it as a foundational aspect of ourselves. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, expressing these inborn talents is the key to living a life with purposeful direction and a sense of personal meaning and fulfillment. Okay, so there is nothing that scratches the itch of that existential itch of like, what's going to make me ultimately happy, than finding your own genius qualities. There's nothing that does it as much as that. Because when you're doing that, when you're in your genius, again, which is your existential DNA, the thing that you were born with, and expressing it, you are doing what you actually came here to do. You're actually doing that thing. So at that moment, at those times, you're not missing anything. You're exactly where you need to be. You're exactly doing what you need to do. And you're exactly like being who you are. And, again, it sounds so simple, but most people never get there. They stumble onto it here and there in one little thing or another. But man, when you can have this as actually the way that you live your life and have access to that prima conscious area where all of your life qualities for your individual self-expression exist, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it, like giving what you have in your existential DNA and being able to express that with your whole life. So I hope these things I hope they make sense, and I hope they resonate with you, because, this is universal. It doesn't matter what country you're in, when you were born, your age, your gender, your religion, it doesn't matter. This is passes all of those things. Okay. This is something that in your heart of hearts, you should be able to relate to. And depending on how much you're either in touch with it now or not, depending on how much, it feels important to you, these words can either fall flat or they can be like, oh man, I really want that. That's something I really need. I want to know about that. I want to know about my own genius. And that's what I've been missing. So hopefully this lands for you. I really, that's my intent. But if it doesn't, I'm expressing my genius. That's the most I can do. It's the most any of us can do. Okay. So, all right. Now, what I'm going to do is take another short commercial break. And when we come back, I'm going to send you on your way this week with some words of inspiration about your genius.
Hi, I'm Kelly Melissa Reinhart, host of Make Mental Health Matter. Join me on Mondays at 11 a.m. and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time on the Achieve TV network right here on E360 TV.
Throughout history, we've observed times when individuals express themselves in an exceptional way. Witnessing this exceptional expression has an effect on us as observers in terms of feeling transported to a higher level of awareness and enjoyment within ourselves. This is the phenomenon of being touched or moved by someone's genius, and it serves as a reminder of our own inner genius. We have thought about this phenomenon in different ways throughout the ages, and our current time needs its own understanding of it. This is the message of the Genius Way, to provide a fresh idea of genius for our time and circumstances. And that's our show for this week. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really enjoyed spending this time with you this week as usual, and I hope you found something really valuable for your personal development journey. So here is your weekly self-inquiry journal prompt. Write about an experience in your life when you felt fulfilled and purposeful. Name a genius quality that you were expressing at the time. Okay? Once again, write about an experience in your life when you felt fulfilled and purposeful. Name a genius quality that you were expressing at the time. You got it? Good. Okay, that's our show. We'll see you next week. And until then, stay curious, be kind to yourself, and remember that your genius has something to say.
Thanks for watching the Genius Way Show with Ben Hummell. Make sure to visit thegeniusway.com for the resources you need to help you on your personal life journey. You can contact Ben at ben@thegeniusway.com. And you can follow The Genius Way with Ben Hummell on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Thanks for streaming The Genius Way Show with Ben Hummell.